afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda here of Psych, Defender of the Fatherland. We're off here to a 1 vs 1 on Arnhem Checkpoint. The ever lovely, the ever big Arnhem Checkpoint between the south. We got FredBrik here fighting for America and the American peoples. Fighting here for the 3rd Armored Division versus the north. We got Jove, yes indeed that is him, Jove fighting for Germany. Deutschland, and the 9th Panther Division. We got here Ostrom Doctrine in a rare appearance, I would say, lately here, with bullets from machine guns and grenadiers versus FredBrik with airborne heavy cavalry. And Armor Company here, less rare there though. Airborne axe being neutralized is rare, with bullets here for infantry and the ambulance. So we got sort of a heavy push here from FredBrik towards the center east. Also noting this is a long match, almost an hour long, so no mid-game analysis. Also strap yourself in. Ostrom rushing towards the centre here, so we got 2 Ostrom squads here with an MD42 for Jove. That should allow him in some sense to grab a lot of territory, and this could in theory end up being a bit like sort of, you know, the 3 Pioneer to MD build, except you sort of get a bit more combat ability by the Ostrom sort of early on. But at the same time, they will be lacking sort of few elements, and they will still need to be augmented with the Panther grenadiers, because as the game progresses, they will suffer a few issues. So first shootout here, Jeremy dead, shot by several well-armed Hungarian troops in support of the 9th Infantry. Fortifying up here from a flank. They might want to have slightly shifted further along here, because right there, the cover still applies, whereas if he just got enough round here, he could actually fire past the cover and actually quickly suppress them. In this case though, FredBrik still pulls back, realising he's just been stuck there. Fighting here for the cover point, Pioneer Sword, fighting with Rifleman here. More Ostrom there for Jove, we got more Rifleman on the way there for FredBrik. So right now we can sort of see here, he's been slightly held up here, and there you go, the Rifleman go through the Ostrom very rapidly, but there you go, the Pioneers to assist with the MP40, so there you go, Rifleman push back. Need to get that cut-off point, and need to also sort of secure some advanced position here against his opponent. Also my apologies for so many American versus, well, Wehrmacht matches. It's just most matches at the moment are Wehrmacht. Some Oberkommandovers, it's just the Oberkommandovers, yeah, I don't know, they just don't seem to know what they're doing half the time and just seem to rely on scavenge. And it doesn't really make for very interesting commentary in the long run. Besides, it's just what they've been doing for, well, quite some time now, and it's, well, a bit lacking. And as for the other side, well, it's, well, while there are a lot of Soviets playing, they tend to end up versus the Oberkommandovers. Again, that rather means not so much interesting there, so it's rather Wehrmacht versus USF at the moment. I'm of course looking for other matches, it's just a bit tricky. And again, in particular, when the key is also don't make it look interesting, in which case Wehrmacht versus USF does, I think, offer some of the more interesting engagements at the moment. I will of course look for other things also, 2 vs 2, just don't get your hopes up too high. We got a multi on the way for FredBrik, so after the 3 Riflemen, we got 3 Ostrom squads. 1 MD42 though, just going to take up rapidly with that. Ostrom versus Riflemen. Others moving ahead there, so a bit of a shootout here between the 2 sides. Holding up here behind an old blitz forgotten by the Wehrmacht. Apparently someone's going to have to answer that. Rifleman across negative cover straight through the Ostrom's line of fire. There you go, quickly taking losses. Pioneers flanking behind the Rifleman there, firing up front of the back over the cafe there at the Rifleman can't be in an awkward position. Rifleman opening up against the Ostrom. And there you go, others Rifleman flanking in, but the Pioneers are hot on the pursuit. Mortar there arriving here for FredBrik, around to find the MD42 in the church. Is also bringing losses. Rifleman push back there. Ostrom squad push back. So got here and going for the car point as all of this happening. Good move. And here Ostrom grabbing territory there, so we can sort of rapidly see Jove is pushing in aggressively, grabbing as much as he can while following up with additional Pioneers. S-Mine's going down the cutoff point as well, MD42 falling back from the church, and Rifle squad push back as well here in the face of the Osttruppen. Quick few S-Mine's going down there. Looks like he's going to lay down a pretty dense S-Mine field here. Mortar advances. Following up on the weakened Rifle squad, they Ostrom flanking in there, might try and set up here and position the cafe to fire around there again. And we got some Masons just continuing to do the work here in the east. Light Mechanized Company going up there. Pioneers think about, so looks like he only finished about, well, 3/4 of the field. Rather than suffering some losses to the sneaky Ostrom there. MD42 was actually not pulled back for reinforcement. Briefly thought that, but looks like he just pulled it back to the restaurant, and the Pioneers here are slightly besides the point, not quite there. Ostrom going in there, Ostrom going out into the open, other squad here, and munitions here being grabbed by rather depleted Rifle squad. Ostrom there opening up against the mortar, but subjected to far from Rifle out in the open. Rifleman push back action up here. Pioneers versus the re-echelons in this case. Could go either way. Re-echelons looks like they do have the advantage over the Pioneers in this engagement. Then again, maybe, just maybe. Looks like the Pioneers won us rather close though. 2-2 setting out Ostrom here, standing about as well. So he's got a bit more mobility there versus FredBrik, who's gone for the captain. No vast surprise there, nothing that leaves anyone deeply shocked. Captain into Steward still very much what they all go for here. 2-2 versus Rifleman, low in health though. Small chance he'll wipe. Small, but not exactly huge. Bam nailed up in the church, modified after the 2-2 doesn't really land. Got one. Other 2-2 Jordan Moy there for Jove and the Wehrmacht. Moving up here, close. In this case, no cigar. Need to be careful in that he's risking using the 2-2 here. His attempt to get the rifle scored. And there we go, blocking off the path of Rifle. Sukafar joining in, and that 2-2 is toast. Toast. But on the other hand, thanks to that little thing, he's actually drawn away a lot of troops there that was pushed forward, allowing him to sort of grab even more of the map here. So Jove currently is pretty much supremely controlling the map here. We'll of course have to see how long that lasts. His opponent now has a lot of, well, better infantry, the captain, mortar, and soon enough a Stuart. Though getting the map control here does mean less resources towards that. There's a rifleman. Captain going ahead.
Ambulance taking the field.
Captain moving up there, 2-2 need to be careful. Rifleman advancing up in the fire from the Ostrom. Actually, the Ostrom are firing at the captain. Although Ostrom squad holding up, but that's not really holding back the Americans very much. S-man field could also be an idea there for Jove. I mean, he's got plenty of munitions at the moment, so as many S-man fields can lay down. True will catch FredBrik off guard, the better, I would say. But there you go, almost a full retreat here along the front line for Jove as FredBrik pushes very hard into the center of his map. And medic bunker up there for Jove. Nothing further here from the light to make a nice company. One option could also be a flame for a half check, but again, with the captain out, there's of course the worry of the Stuart. But again, thanks to the map control, there's actually less a worry. So in theory, what Jove could do right now is go for a flame for half check, push back against FredBrik, doing a lot of damage to his infantry, bleeding him out. Another option would be more 2-2s, Panther Grenadiers. So, I mean, there are some possibilities there for him. Rifles charging straight to the minefield, suffering losses.
We're losing a capture point.
And now FredBrik is getting, well, most of the car points. He's in active control of the fuel point, but that should help offset things a bit. Captain push back here. Ostrom advancing. Bit spread out, they're not really supporting each other. Rifle squad almost done there for FredBrik, so he's up to 4 squads of infantry. Due to, again, not really being able to get out of the Stuarts. I mean, in that sense, I mean, Jove was able to execute sort of a nice early strategy, focused around denying fuel to FredBrik, again, delaying the otherwise typical Stuart, and sort of pushing him with more equipment. Though, again, I do think there was a missed opportunity when not going for a flame for a half track here. Otherwise, we got Panther Grenadier here, also opening on the right from there. Good work, sandbags up there, prepared by Jove's Pioneers earlier. Bit of firing in the east side. Oh, catch the vision out in the minefield. Getting a few kills with that. Excellent. And overall, still taking control of the fuel hub point here. I mean, overall, Jove really has a sizable fuel advantage. Of course, the question is, can he play it well there against FredBrik then? 2-2 moving in, then getting the rifle and pushing the captain out in the open. Modifying in the Indy-42. Back here. Not much going on. No tech up. No nothing. We do have the Panther Grenadier out there for Jove and the 9th Panzer Division, which did, by the way, take part in the Battle of Normandy. It just doesn't get much of a mention compared to the Panzerlehr or some of the other Panzer divisions, usually the SS. It is one of those unsung divisions alongside the 2nd Panzer Division and to a certain degree also the 21st Panzer Division. Here, healing, reinforcement, still no take up for Joe, or no initial units. FredBrik on the other hand can now bring up a Stuart, but again it has been significantly delayed here again thanks to Jove's play. Going for the fuel point here. Minefield actually laid down here. In this case, being quickly swept up. You could rush in the Pioneers because with the minesweeper about there, they do offer less resistance. So, Ace an option there for Jove, but so far looks like he's not quite hitting on. Instead, going for the CoH point. Panther going to be waiting behind an old tree here. Carries? I don't know. Trees are not really my forte. You can see FredBrik's brought up more artillery and another mortar, and he's there you go going for the Stuart here, but at the 10-minute mark. Now he's definitely delayed Stuart, and again, thanks to Jove's Ostrom play, but also just aggressive map control, focus around controlling the fuel points here, whereas FredBrik was so focused on the centre, he kind of forgot that. Camping push back here, large west push here from Jove to do, following up further on the flank here, pushing back rifle. We even got trenches here, interesting. Rarely utilised, in part because when they first initially appeared it was versus the Soviets, and the problem is the Soviets have so many things they can easily clear out a trench, it doesn't really matter if you have one or not. Nor do they offer any actual bonuses then to sort of, you know, offset it. That's just the American, the British. I mean, the trench do offer a bit more just to go on. Right here, heavy engagement with the Centaurs from squad push back. He just blasting away at the rifleman, and Panther gonna do here just, well, finally getting a move on. Pack 40 out there, but no tech up. In fact, Joe could probably at this point, oh, there you go, taking up. Maybe even have brought up, say, Stug on Austrian, or even a Panther 4 here versus FredBrik already. There you go, we got the M51 out there for FredBrik. Grabbing the munitions point here. Further advance here, right pushing back the Pioneers, almost wiping them out, botting the Pack 40 here. Bit rough here as FredBrik's counter-attack sounds off there. Few shots there. Panther going to do a push back. Pack 40 turning about the range to repel the Stuart threat. There you go. 75mm shell goes straight from the front arm of the Stuart. And second shot lands another hit there. Stuart's going to be up for a bit there. Take up almost done there for Jove. Troops healing, reinforcing. Points here being lost though. FredBrik is savagely moving forward here with the 3rd Armoured Division. Quick set over there with the MG42, which is halfway to Veteran T2. And definitely one priority should be then quickly getting up the support armor core and then rushing out some armor to push back with FredBrik. Push back against him with. Slight fumble there, verbal. We got weapon racks unlocked there for FredBrik, opening up for BARs and bazookas. That's definitely going to make things more difficult. And it also means at this point the Ostrom are going to be close to obsolete since versus upgraded riflemen. The Ostrom generally tend to fail pretty hard. In fact, versus any upgraded infantry, that's really one of the bigger weaknesses of Ostrom. And which is why we don't see them so much anymore. Because they just sort of have a sort of natural exploration moment, and that just really happens a lot harder versus the Western Allies than the Soviets. So Palmer Corps going up there, and he can go for the Austrian or a Panther 4, even if Stuart then he wants to. As soon as it hits, he might of course more attempt towards the Panther 4 or Austrian due to the negative of the Stuart. And also, of course, they can sort of help a bit more versus the infantry.
One of our capture points.
Stuart moving ahead. North crew being pushed back here. Going up to Pack 40.
The capture point is being overrun.
A rare miss. And there go Panthers out in the open take. Oh, well, driving out in the open take. Far from the Panther going to be his half health, but not a single kick lost there as of yet. Oh, there you go. Meanwhile, Pack 40 being pushed back here, but rifle flanking into the 2 Panthers coming up to deal with that. We got Haymortar for their quick landing in there on the Panther going to his position. In the east there we got MD42 versus Rearson, seeing them running, and he's closing in there on the Panther 4. Rather than push back by Panther going to be at 2-2-2. Pioneers versus Captain, burning him out, and his friends almost wiping out. In fact, and there you go, just heavy continued mortar fire there from FredBrik's mortar battery, a bit scattered, but overall still a battery. And oh, what's this? FredBrik is going for a second Stuart. A bit rare from an American player. Most of them just go straight for the Pershing or medium armor, but a very few will actually try another Stuart light tank and that way hit back an infantry. Not a bad idea, but that's more if you actually sort of got an advantage, a bit similar how it's like with a flamethrower half track here. But in this case, Jove actually has the fuel advantage, and FredBrik, my apologies today, should be aware of that. So going for second Stuart here is, I think, a tad optimistic, if not reckless. I mean, there's a small chance he can pull it off. We're better off either taking up or bringing up an anti-tank gun. But Oh well, we'll see if he plays up those double Stuarts there versus his crouch throw, and there you go. Stuart number 2 arrives there. Another M5A1, which would be slowly by the end of the war replaced by the M24 Chaffee, though not a lot of units would actually get it, but still somewhere.
Send your orders.
Continues finding around the centre. Jove seems to be getting more focused on the centre as well, losing, sight here of the eastern side of the map as well, which again did benefit him in the early game, so that I think could be a bit of a mistake there by Jove. Panther was there versus Stuart. Panther 4 there arrives. Capture setting up there.
We're losing a capture point.
MG42 going for the victory point, and there you go. Panther 4 going down for the Stuart here. Shot fired. Hit, and there you go. Stun rams allow him to get away, and there we go. Successfully stuns the Panther 4. Blocks the vision as well. So thusly, he basically prevents the Panther 4 from pursuing him. Gets the Stuart safely away. MG42 versus Rifleman. And Stuart strikes rapidly and viciously. Rifleman up here. Now Panther goes with the Panther Shreks. More anti-tank here, but less anti-infantry. Joe, though, seems to swiftly realise that, and actually is then going for another Panther squad. No, MG42 more. MG42. I think more Panthers there would have been helpful, but oh well. As for the rest of Jove's doctrine, we aren't actually seeing a lot of it. There's not, for example, you say, oh, well, trenches, but as officer, for example, which could also be of help to Jove there, boosting his men, laying down smoke screens. So a trench here to cover the cut-off point there. Not a bad thing. Grabbing the east of the victory point when the last time scored, Panther 4 acting as support. Stuart's holding back. Here's a bit of a sort of a breather between the two sides as they try to determine the situation. Here, rattling up the awesome up from the trench. We also got grenadable in FredBrik's troops. 52 there for the awesome grenade off. Dodges it, loses one member there, and quickly back in the trench. Firing away there, the rifleman again, down to 3 men. Smokescreen this time around, not bad. A bit expensive by the end here. Now it's 45 munitions just to fight that trench. Also we're taking loss from the Stuart. Panther 4 doing what he can as well here. Anti-tank are moving up to the M1, and there you go. Penetrating the Panther 4 Stuart themselves to stun it. Try and get off some more hits there from the anti-tank. And in these M40 much support here, also being pushed out of the trench. Rifleman suppressed. Stuart moving up here. Anti-tank continue to advance. Oh, awesome firing at the vehicle crew. Getting a kill there. I think she was just trying to kill more of them, preventing them from actually getting back in it. Instead, she rushes it with a Panther Faust.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
4-2 firing there, Vieston's in a bit of an awkward position there. Bring up the punish with the flamethrower to burn them out. But FredBrik swiftly retreats. At the same time, Panther's flanking in here, going for the mortars, going for the more vulnerable support weapons, where everything else is at sort of close to the front line. There's a gap here, and Joe always quick to take advantage of it with a bomb grenade. Wiping the mortar crew. Excellent. Excellent there. Now if we can just steal it, that would be even better. No, it seems like he's actually trying to wreck it with the Panther Shreks. Doesn't look like he's getting troops that can sort of rush down there immediately. Oh, he's got the Pioneer, so actually could do that. Mortar hit there. Oh! Drops a Panther Shrek. Bad news there. Bad news for Jove and the 9th Panther Division. Trying here to protect the Panther Shrek. The lack of alacrity moving up units here to sort of cover up here has, I think, rather hurt him a bit. Running is the balancing caption there, and there he goes, going around, trying around the mortar. 2-2 firing in, can he get it? And there we go, mortar crew wiped again. Panther 4 taking heavy hits from the captain of the bazookas, fierce there firing in as well. Ostrov grabs the mortar, gets away with it.
They got wiped out.
Moving out here, back 40, shoots, misses though. Few hits there. Nice hit there. Where's the Panther 4? Need to get it over to support here. Stuart almost got the 2-2, and there we go. It blows up. Panther 4 lands a decent hit there. Pack 40 turns about, and oh, gets the Stuart light tank. 1 down, 1 to go. There you go, flanks around the Pack 40. Nice work there, nice work there. Floating fire, it's gone for heavy cavalry. On the end, no surprises there. They could have perhaps benefited from some Rangers sooner, maybe use some smoke there from the Doctor. Quickly following up with another mortar to replace the one there nicked by the Germans back here. Troops healing, reinforcing. Can soon go for another Panther 4. Could also go for an Osman right now. Pack 40 cleared out here. And looks like he's going to steal. That's going to be a bit of loss there for Jove and the 9th Panther Division. Captain there sprinting ahead. Well, his men are sprinting ahead. The captain is quite long dead there. So obviously the captain himself is not sprinting. It's just, yeah, maybe they should call it, you know, the company command squad instead of just captain. Because, you know, I mean, the rest aren't the captain. That's not how the captain, you know, works. I'm the captain now. No, Earl, you're still a private. Shut up. Dang it.
Send your orders.
Fix up that Panther 4. More Panther going to be here for Jove, and he can also go for the Panther 4 here. Panzer Kampfwagen 4. Get it, Jove. Deutschland demands Panther 4s for MC. More Panthers there arriving. Still not picking up the Panther 4, and there we go, getting another Panther 4 here. In which case, FredBrik could find himself punished here for playing straight for the Pershing. Oh, bun grenade. Oh, grenades being exchanged. Drive moving straight to the bun grenade. Almost right there. Thankfully, there are no troops that can take even a single shot there. The last survivor. Oh, that could have been wiped there against FredBrik. In these days, stood once more striking at sort of unsupported or unassisted units here. Using its great speed and lethality to hunt them down. Quick attack MD42 setting up there. Panthers going off. Oh, grenade there. Mortar crew spotted. Dealt with. Bun grenade against the right. Oh, retreats. Lack some armor support here. I think in the center they could also worked out quite nicely. Smoke's been off there against MD42. Good work. Pioneers hanging back. Not sure why they weren't joining in either. So there you go. 2 Panther 4s out here for Jove. FredBrik's only got a single sword light tank. On the other hand, he does have a lot more infantry, and more importantly, he has a lot of upgraded infantry, which again is pretty much bad news there for the Osman. Plus, he's got grenades as well. I mean, these are heavily armed GIs. Right there, though, with the Panther Shrek taking lost there to the Panther 4. Almost got the bastards. Other Panther 4 moving up here, so working here together. Could possibly hunt down the Sud light tank and deal with it. You got a Blitzkrieg. Where's the other Panther 4? What are you doing, Jove? Lost kids. Captain moving up, Rifleman, anti-tank, and also still moving here in the east. We got Pioneers being held back by Rifleman, other Panther 4. So I think could have rushed the Sud actually gotten it if he just used both Panther 4s. But looks like in this case, Jove perhaps was feeling a bit unsure. And thus decides not to pursue. Good hit there from the now German mortar here. Got Natenwerfer. Lieutenant standing about there. Panther 4 moves ahead. Other Panther moves about here. We've got Panther that is ready to support as well here. More healing, reinforcements. No additional armor. He could actually try here and go for a supply drop zone to quickly boost his fuel and then go for, say, a 3rd Panther 4 here versus FredBrik, who is just slowly aiming in there towards the M26 Pershing heavy tank. There's so many Pershings lately. Quick grenade against the Pioneers. Captain, Lieutenant advantage, get the Pioneers Panther 4 moving up to block their path, and there we go, quick shot, gets a kill. MD42 though seals off the deal here. Pin pump machine almost down. There you go. Once more, Jove sort of pushing for the sides, ignoring a bit the center. He's not pushing as hard as he could. Though it is right in fact very open here. Mortar falling back. Panther is getting ready to sort of moving on the flank. Panther 4 moving up there as well. Good work, good work. See sort of FredBrik just contract all of his forces, anti-tank guns, mortars, pulling back and sort of trying to sort of form up a stronger defensive position rather than leaving his units scattering out there and sort of easy to target. Good move there by FredBrik. Good tactical move. Leaves him a lot less vulnerable here, though of course it does mean continuing that, but in this case sort of not getting his units murders could work out nicely as long as Jove, you know, doesn't really hard out flanking for example, catching the tank that doesn't expect. Both anti-tank guns hit the bleeding wall instead of the Panther. Another hit there. Panther versus Rifleman, you got grenades attempting against each other. Almost got them. Panther falls overall here, not particularly speedy or accurate. For example, attempted here flanking. For example, you could try and attack with the Panther 4 through here, and then the other one through here. Maybe was just one hit. There you go. Panther 4 taking hit from anti-tank guns and bazookas. Need to fall back here, right inside the church, capturing up support. Ostrom inside a tiny shed. I'm not entirely sure what they're doing here. Well, besides being dead. I guess that was a misclick there by Jove. He didn't quite realise before it was too late. More Panther going to do there for Jove. Also, versus Rifleman. Mortar fire joining in as well. Still only 2 kills.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
But he could soon bring up some more armor. He could go for an Ostwind here. That could also be an option. As for FredBrik, they're closer to the Pershing. Just needs a bit of manpower to go. Good setting up as on mines here. Good using the doctrine. Actually using the doctrine for once. You could also go for some ranges. Rapidly pinned down. Panther falls. Nowhere near in sight.
Combat promotion in.
Victor Point was also got an advantage there to Jove. 300 versus 224. Advantage in the centre here. Units holding up. Sandbags laid down there as well. Good work. He could consider some mines around here or here. With the rifleman, and here in the east, more minefields going off under the feet of the lieutenant, causing quite a few casualties. Also changes there. Rifleman here, straight, right into some heavy fire, and wipe. That's going to hurt FredBrik quite a bit there. Panther 4 sitting out. Panther's going to be moving up, but in this case, with no real cover here, the easy target to the veteran for the rifleman with the BAR and the Panther Shrek. Rifleman nearly got rid of the top here with the Panther 4. Rifleman almost wiped out there as well. Panther 4 moves up, and anti-tank in their fires. In this case, one shot failed to penetrate, but that's about it. Mortar crew here being scorched alive horribly. Almost wiping the entire bloody thing. Panzer Grenadier setting out, troops are healing, reinforcing. And there we go. FredBrik finally can call out a Pershing. It's only been quite a bit delayed here. In the straight into an M42, they're assaulted. No further advances for them, no more democracy. Pershing sets out here towards the west. At this point, Joe, there's a little bit of disadvantage. He's got no anti-tank, he's got a Panther Shrek. He's got 2 Panther 4s. The problem is they're scattered all over the place, meaning he can't really concentrate at the far there versus FredBrik. At the same time, he might even use the Stood here as bait on another side, so draw away tank before then striking with the Pershing elsewhere. In this case, looks like he's going to join them up there. Which is also an option.
We are down to 300 points.
But there you go, Panther 4 might be able to catch the Stood here. Other Panther 4 not moving, despite you having seen the Pershing there. Still raining down around here. Oh! Good lord! Both mortars white! So heavy railway artillery support called in here. And there we go. One mortar annihilated. Stewart gets away here using the stun rounds again. Panther 5 still gets to Stewart. Nice little flank there. The Panther 4 still not moving in support here. Seems like Joe forgot about it. And one mortar has in fact been wrecked here by the repeated hits here of the railway artillery. Leaving only one left. Veteran 342 versus Rifleman. Panther going to be moving up. Anti-tank can see about here. Panther 4 finally getting a move on there in the east, and the other Panther 4's pulled back for a few repairs. As for more armor here, no sign of that. Is he actually? Yes, he's taking up. He's going to go for tier 4 next. Jove does love the tier 4, it seems. Loves his Panthers. You might want to move those pioneers there, Jove. First, they're firing at the MD42 inside the house. Panther 4 slowly moving up. The other Panther 4 still not really achieving much. And there go flank. Ooh, grenade goes off, hurting the riflemen themselves. Nice throw there, Bob. Yeah, Bob. Nice throw. Shut up, guys. I can't help it. More to fight on the Pershing. That's an interesting move.
Our opponents are seizing a sector.
There'll probably be a heavy Panther course soon. In fact, there we go. As for FredBrik, do we have any tech up? Any attempted medium armor? So far, none. Zip. Bupkis. So one mortar been brought back into the fold here for FredBrik. That is overall 2 full mortar losses, 1 stolen by the Germans, the other wrecked by the Germans. That's the other lieutenant moving out there, engaging up close. Panther 4 here. Ah, shit, not allowed to shoot the infantry. Exposed bazooka fire. Grenade going off here. Panther Grenadier is wiped by the lieutenant. Another snagging loss here for Jove and the 9th Panzer Division. Also from there, almost being annihilated out in the open here by the Pershing and all the other fire there. Mortar flying as well off. And here, Rifle continuing there. Cough point secured. Seems like Jove's getting a bit sloppy here, perhaps, or unsure what to do. Either way, some slightly awkward movements there. Though he can soon go for the Panther. MD-42 in the trench here, not a bad setup. Rears are told about the MD-42 there. Veteran fleet mob setting up as well now. Veteran 2, but only 3 kills. Rapping about their Panther could deal with that pretty quickly, and there you go. Pershing continues to advance. MD-42 needs to pull back. Still some time before we get the Panther. Panther going to do squad flanking, but there you go. Met with a wall of bazookas and BARs. He's forced to fall back there. Right push back here. The Panther is forming up a strong point there with their Panther 6. No one any sort of keen to go close. And M20 on the way for FredBrik. Well, and M20. That's a rare thing to see, in particular half an hour into the game. Anyone going for an M20 certainly catches my attention. That could indicate he's actually planning to use his mine net, for example, catch up some of Joe's arm and that way disable it, which is a pretty interesting idea. And soon Joe can go for the Panther, but there's still a bit of time to go here. Still a bit of time to go. The lack of control here for the fuel point for Joe isn't particularly assisting the situation, though. Mine's going down on the cough point, good work there, returning the favour to Joe early in the game. Going here for the cough point as well, Grenadiers here, or Panther with his first rifleman. Going up, they're going to pop up on grenade. Straight through the backside there of the cafe, collapsing it completely. Passing advances straight for the Pioneers. Almost one of the entire unit. Panthers moving up, they got the Panther moving in, then Veteran 2 back here. He's close to the Panther, but still not quite there. It's going to take some more time. Again, due to now FredBrik locking down the points there. Although if he had not bothered with it, he probably could at least let another 2 Panther 4s out, roughly. He'd sort of deal with the FredBrik instead of that. And it keeps it also splitting it up there. We got the M20 moving eastwards here. Oh, getting armoured skirts in this case. Going to be too late, straight into the Panther 4 here. We shall never see here what it was FredBrik intended to do with him trending for the Panther 4. Has left it burning.
Light vehicle just got destroyed.
Almost got the cough point, in which case he can very quickly then go for the Panther. And there we go. And finally he can go for the Panther. The Panther comes back in front, and he is quick to do so. Pioneers versus Rifleman. Veteran 3 versus Veteran 3, but Rifleman will have the advantage there with the BARs. There's the Pioneers. Panther 4 moving up support. Shoots, and there we go. Excellent hit, killing numerous riflemen. With a well-placed tactical shell in the centre here. We got a Western Center. Pack 40s. Anti-tank and Pershing here. Ooh, mines going off there on the riflemen themselves. Panther 4 firing in there. Need the other Panther 4 to support here. Need the other Panther 4. He's not doing it. He's not moving the Panther 4 to work together. Pioneers as riflemen. Oh, there's grenade going off. Not doing enough. Riflemen taking damage here. Veteran 3 Pioneers burning and also push back. Panther almost done. What's the other Panther 4 doing, Jove? Riflemen taking heavy fire from 42. Smoke screen going down. Panther almost done. Almost done there for the 9th Panther Division. Pioneers flanking in there. Panther as well here, trying to get behind to hit some of the support weapons. Good work. Other Panther 4 finally gets a move on. And Panther 4 they're slightly engaged the Pershing, taking damage. Almost got the anti-tank gun there. Almost. There we go. Wipes it.
Go crew just got wiped out.
Now if you can either just steal it or something, that'd be pretty good there, I think, for Jove. Pershing going in there. Panther arrives there for Jove and the Fatherland. Pershing needs a nice hit there. House crumbles. More units taking losses. The Panthers there really sort of cutting off units and retreating, also just sort of hitting the softer units there. Good move by Jove. Another steward for FredBrik. And to tank it almost right. Panther going in hard here. Smoke screen down to cover it up. Good work. But where are the Panthers to support the Panther? There's none. They could easily support it here. The Panther, but instead just sits in the Panther piecemeal with minimal support here. Whereas FredBrik's got infantry and the anti-tank in near his Pershing. Right here, suddenly things are quickly turning against the Panther. Target weak point utilised against Jove here. Bit awkward fighting because his name away from Panther. Needs to get out here quickly now. Pershing flanks, anti-tank rocket grenade will go for Panther flying in support now of the Panther. Steward rushes in. Pershing taking heavy hits here. Panther need to retreat. They're trying to have a go gut the anti-tank and captain next. Panther force moving up, but a bit late here, a bit late. And he's still got the other one, which still could have been a bit of support there. Maybe flank the anti-tank and something. Seems like Jove is not particularly having a good time handling more than one tank at any time. Other Panther 4 moving up. Pershing moves up, fires, and wrecks the cover for the rifleman. Nice shooting there, Jimbo. Finding position cleared up. Panther expensive is there. Pioneers getting to work down the Panther. Other Panther 4 moving about. And here MB42 remains inside its nice comfortable trench. And here troops in reinforcing. And Stuart there. Crew popping up to fix up the Pershing. Actually, right now, Joe, I think, would have a good chance to realise the situation. To just basically rush in, get the crew, damage the Pershing, get the steward as well. Again, he just sort of sits back there. He's getting a bit, perhaps, past there against FredBrik. But too late now. M26 Pershing good to go again once more. Roughing out the upper versus the Panther 4 and the Panther. Pershing moves up, lands a nice hit down the Panther. Misses. Fixing up the Panther 4 there. Yes, they go straight against the Panther. The MB42 sending up here as well. Not quite able to fire in. There we go. Panther moves. Wow, the Panther's supporting it. The Panther 4 to this. Nowhere to be seen. Panther pushed back. Again, not entirely sure what's going on for Joe, but again, it ends up being a bit of waste there. Again, exposed the Panther to all the fire. Force it back, and there you go. Another Panther 4 moving up, but the other one's still not moving. Panther's also moving up here on the east side, or through the centre here. Big shot there against the Pershing. Seems to have either missed or bounced off. Grenade there, and catches the Haymarket for a bit. The better feet for the Panther coming here. MB42 up in the lieutenant there, suppressing him. Panther was quickly sneaking back and forth there, breaking on the Panther 4 on the Panther. Still moving up here, catching the Panther coming out in the open here. Mortar fire raining down there, direct hit on the Stuart. Panther 4 moves up so close to Vet 22, and there we go, Schützen added. Another Vet 22 Panther 4 here for Joe. Panther is doing with the camera, got a grenade off against the captain, and almost wipes the bastard. The captain in this case does survive. Several anti-tank guns there, one operative with Jove B if he's got his mortar nearby tank to lay down the smoke screen around them, and then sort of charge in the Panthers, get past them, wreck the anti-tank, and then proceed to deal with the armour. Smoke screen here from the rifle moving towards the central victory point. Panther 4's sitting back again. Panther moving out slightly. Austin with a Panther hit versus the Pershing. Taking some losses there. Panther moves up, lands a nice hit there with its high velocity 75mm gun against the Pershing tank. Right from there, suffering a nice hit there from the Panther 4. Most been down, mortar firing on there, going to tank and firing against the armour of the Panther 4, doing a bit of damage there. Pershing Victory 2, but holding back a bit. Overall, seems like here Jove could consider actually trying to up his armor here and then sort of flank in from the east. I mean, there's basically a huge blind spot here which could be utilized against FredBrik, in particular due to the buildings. And again, if he sort of maneuvers it correctly, he could catch FredBrik there from an angle he does not expect at all. Using the trenches with anti-tank troops here to sort of keep him occupied there, for example. But seems like there Jove's just more interested in engaging FredBrik here head on, rather than trying to look for a soft spot there and sort of, hammer it away with it with full force, which is, rather German doctrine. Sense of what's in the war. Rather than engaging straight to the Ostrom here, but again, Vetchi fleet with grenades, BARs. The Rifle will have the advantage, and there you go. Panther grenade off. German mortar does help out. Panther's moving up, but again, Stuart now to the rescue. Panther slowly moving out here. Panther force doing nothing. Panther straight there, there's the Panther. Anti-tank hit, but bounces off the armor. Panther also bounces off the Pershing's armor. Another Pershing and the Panther. Panther force just doing nothing. Anti-tank them engaged by the Pioneers. Also going for the center victory point. Panther going to do following up. We got more push up here. FredBrik veins to sort of discontrol the area here. And there you go. Panther force finally moving in. Need to get past the anti-tank and splits. Get the Panther in there as well, Joe. There we go. Finally moving. Grenades going off. Panther 4 though. Down. H-Rep around there. Took it out. Nice shot there. If only the Panther had been there sooner. Bazookas there firing at the Panther 4, Pershing taking damage, anti-tank and they're still operable. There we go, wiped out, Panther with its Ostrom moving up. Need to get the Panther 4 back to support the Panther. No, he pulls back again. Yes, they're taking losses from the Panther Grenadiers. Lieutenant pushed back as well, we got Mortier firing away. And in the east, we've got Stuart here versus the MG42. Seems like Joe's forgotten about that here entirely. The Stuart's just having an easy time here. So yeah, he managed to push through here. FredBrik got some of the anti-tank guns, but he also lost the Panther 4. And now we see it clearing out the MG42 pretty quickly. Too late here, just wiped out inside the trench. Stealing away one anti-tank in the Pack 40 here. This is where half-track would have been handy, allowed him to reinforce at the front line, then grab the other anti-tank as well pretty rapidly. Maybe to steal the mortar and then set up a sort of nice forward point here. But again, he just does get a half-track, which also means late game his Ostrom can't, for example, also be quite pulled to one of the other advantages, which is they have a really fast reinforcement speed besides the low reinforcement cost, which you could in theory utilize and also just grab a lot of equipment at the front line quickly. Instead, we got a Panther here to replace the other Panther 4 here, so that's 2 Panthers and a Panther 4 here versus a Pershing and a Stuart. Arriving there with the bazookas and whatnot, pushing towards the center here. Certainly been some heavy fighting, and they're rather close to each other in terms of victory points here. Need to fix up that Panther 4. Hold it here by the Vetchi fleet, MB42. We've got ruffling up the Vetchi fleet, and they're putting the down. So there you go. MB42 to the rescue again. Basil suffers a loss there. Smoke screen down. Mortar firing in, and it is eventually free now. Only 5 kills though. Excellent hit there. They're almost wiping out the entire unit, and in fact the lieutenant is the only survivor. Halfway to 52, then the Panther 4, or Panther 4 on the other hand, halfway to Veteran Team 3. And there you go, second Panther out here for Jove. He could consider, maybe a Sturm Panther 4 to help with some of the, units, including the anti-tank guns. We'll see. Panther going to be moving up, 23 kills straight here from the Pershing. Doesn't quite, get any kills, but still forces the Panthers there to retreat. Grenade off against the mortar, but none really connect. And there you go, Panther to the rescue. Pinman machine gun on the way. Another Panther moving out, and Panther 4 here also good to go. But if I need to work together with the Panther, or would it sort of be like the same thing before? Quick hit against the Panther by the Pershing. Grenades all there from the crew. Panther's moving in, another hit there. Misses Veteran feet on the Pershing, by the way, increasing its rate of fire and mobility. Panther 4 gunning him, finally getting a move, but again it just seems like he's not very keen on operating large groups of tanks. Also in the east, kind of taking fire from the Pershing, could try and sort of pop into the trench at least by some time. There you go. Second Panther almost unfixed. Panther 4 moving up here to deal with the captain and friends. We got more anti-tankers there by FredBrik.
AT gun ready.
Ostorm 4-star anti-tanker there got wrecked by Jove. Good work there. Half health, in fact less than half health from the Panther 4, which is struggling with the captain out in the open despite being eventually to itself. That's a bit awkward there, to be honest. Other Panther almost good to go, close to Vicinity 2. But again, there's just this lack of armor coordination here by Jove, I feel. Unfortunately, getting resistance, there we go. Pershing sets out again, speeds away. Mine's going down in to help catch up any armored assault there from Jove. Good work. Panther flanking in, and there you go. Catches the steward. Other Panther not doing anything. Panther 4 waiting repairs. And there you go. Panther really pulls back. Pershing did a bit of damage. Panther's pushing forwards. 169 versus 120, still close. FredBrik doing what he can to minimise the distance between the two in terms of victory points. Panther was there, managed to enter the point neutral, but they do suffer a bit here. Panther 4 still being fixed up, and there we go. Panther moving ahead again. Could lose the Panther gun into here.
The capture point is under attack.
Panther firing, there you go. Snatched one fellow from the lieutenant's unit in the platoon command, and almost there. Pershing sits out again. FredBrik's in a strong position now versus Jove than he was earlier in the game. Pioneers here versus Riflemen, and a quick grenade there off against the Pioneers, and a quick grenade against the Ostromen. Several casualties there inflicted. And not much of a hit there from the Pershing. In east, the Panther 4 once more responds for the fatherland. Wrecks the cow there, provided by the wreck of the M20, but sends some riflemen running there, protecting the victory point from the clammy hands of democracy. Back here, troops are reinforcing. I mean, Jove has an armor advantage, but the funny thing is the way he plays it, he never quite is able to actually sort of leverage it. I mean, it's just one tank here, one tank there. I mean, it does for example, pull off an assault involving all the tanks at the one time, from say different angles at the very least, which overall minimises the effectiveness of actually having an armor advantage if he doesn't play it like one. And overall makes it easier, for example, for FredBrik just to use his Pershing in an effective manner, giving it a lot of efficiency, overall making it a lot stronger. Also, uses the strength of the anti-tank as well, since again they don't have to worry about several targets going in after it. Alright, we got another Rainbow Artillery called in this case against the anti-tank gun. Panther moves light hit, there we go, Veggie 2 shoots, not much well for that. Looks like FredBrik hadn't quite realised what's going on here, and anti-tank draw almost wiped. Tank's not moving forward, so perhaps going to hit there. We'll take advantage of the artillery. Charge collapsed under heavy artillery there from the railroad artillery, whatever it could be. The Germans mounted a lot of things on the railroads besides just trains and artillery. Well, armoured trains specifically. They even had flak trains, if you will, with sort of large flak mounts, 88mm and 105mm flaks. And note, I think both flaks can be fired as artillery as well, so a little fun fact there. First, they gets another hit, 39 kills. Panther goes versus Rabbit. Oh, yeah, and wipes them out almost. No. No, oh, there we go, got them, Panther moving in, both Panthers are moving in, Panther 4 hanging back, hit there, mine goes off, Panthers then engaging the Pershing, 40 kills on it, Pershing moves ahead, shot bounces off the Panthers once line, we got a smoke screen down there, Panther 4 not doing much, Pack 40 isn't doing much either, why did he even steal it then?
One of our capture points.
Bit of miss there by Joe, there you go, he stood moving up these, they could of course in the Panther 4 then there to deal with that. But will he do so? Panther shoot there, detonate on the Pershing. Still just hanging back there. Panther's falling out in the face of FredBrik's vicious infantry assault there. Panther's interested. We got a bunch grenade off. The grenade's going off left and right. And there you go. Panther's going in there for the kill. Anti-tank gun moving. Panther 4 still holding back. Can he get the person with the two Panthers? Anti-tank guns. No one needs to be seen here. Passing down to half health, but again with its high rate of fire, it can do a lot of damage to the Panthers. Exposed. No HP that round. There we go. Almost got the Pershing. Almost got it. Bazooka's firing at the Panther. Panther blitzes out.
Is under attack.
Another hit, then the other Panther. And where's the Panther 4? Imagine if he brought up the Panther 4 to also assist versus the Pershing. In fact, he would do it now. And there you go. Pack 40 does the trick. Straight for the tailpipe, cooking up the Pershing. Phew. 125 to 72. This is beginning to look ugly here for FredBrik. I mean, he's down to a steward, a bunch of infantry, though at the same time, Jove has also suffered excruciating infantry casualties himself. He's just down to Ostrom. And that could possibly be a small opening there for FredBrik. Jove's going to need a lot of Panther gunners. In this case, he goes for another Panther 4, but still, Panther gunners, I think, are going to be necessary, losing the victory point here as well. He's also going to need a lot more Pioneers, I think, to rapidly fix up all the armor here, because that's 2 Panthers and a Panther 4 need repairs. There's a small chance for FredBrik to get that, particularly pulling up another Pershing here. Right, he's moving away the Pioneers. Oh, he's going to focus on the one that's looking quickly to get back in the fight there. So that does make sense. Still more Pioneers will also make sense. And overall, not floating manpower there, Jove. Not floating manpower. Stuart versus Ostrom. A bit afraid there of their Panther wreck. Panthers are falling back. He's worried there's going to be a rush in his base to try and take out the Panthers there because they're low on health. You can see there's a bit of paranoia there from Jove. Panther 4 fixed up, good to go, but get to work on the Panthers. Work together the Panther 4 to do some damage there to FredBrik while possible. And there we go. Another Pershing out here for FredBrik and the 3rd Armoured. Panther 4 then getting the rifle and eventually flee. Anti-tank rifle there goes off, but doesn't have much of an impact there. Bazookas, though, do have a bit more of an impact. Ostrom here needs, well, would have been helpful if they laid down a trench there, but they did not, and now they're easy targeted with the Pershing and the advancing echelons. Finding position quickly cleared up with the Panther 4. Other Panther moving towards the centre, but again, limited to no support. Be careful with that, Jove. First Panther almost ready to go. Other one needs to be fixed up as well. Again, that's going to take time. And still, Jove is floating. He's floating a lot of resources here for some reason. A lot of manpower. I can't help but feel that's a bit of a mistake. When he could be being up Panther Gunners. More Pioneers. Almost got hit. Even an officer here. Captain, though, survives. Looks like it. The bastard there going to tank anything up. Oh, he got the captain. He got the captain. He's going over the anti-tank gun. Crushes one of the medics. Crushing the medics. Oh dear. He should have flanked behind the anti-tank gun though. But there you go, got it. But there you go. Pershing gets behind the Panther 4. And Jove loses his Panther 4. Panther here, there's a lot of infantry out in the open. Other Panther 4 pulling back to base. Pershing up. Oh, Panther almost fixed up. He's calling up Ostrom now. No Panther Gunners again. In this kind of situation now, I'm not really sure a lot of Ostrom's going to help because they can't really set up here to these few veteran riflemen with a lot of weapons. And the lieutenant for that matter. In that sense, FredBrik is very much enjoying an infantry advantage, and again, Jove is not so strong, I think, in leveraging his armor, so can't help but feel this is a slightly wrong approach there by Jove, focusing on Ostrom. Oh, well, he's getting more Pioneers now, that's good. I still think Panther Gunners would be quite helpful. Panther there sets out with Ostrom in support here. 62 versus 48. This is going to be a close one, I think. This is going to be a close one. Mortar reinforcing. More Pioneers on the way there. Viking and the Panther 4. Panther needs to move back towards the other so they don't have to move so far there. Halfway to fleet. Pershing moves up to with the Panther. Shots fired. Anti-tank and penetrates the front arm there of the Panther. Also, they're about to get annihilated here and again versus the Rifle and the Pershing. They just don't get very far. I mean, that's really the problem here. We're going for so many Ostrom here late in the game. They just can't get very far versus FredBrik and his forces. I mean, if it's done a lot of damage to FredBrik's infantry force, a lot of wipes, forced FredBrik to get a lot of raw troops again, then it could have worked. But the problem is, with so many veteran troops out, the Ostrom aren't really going to get a foot to the ground. I still think, though, FredBrik easily would have benefited from getting up some armor of his own, besides just the stewards here, though he's making surprisingly good use of the stewards. Not surprising, but slightly surprising news. Oh, fire there, Stuart going in there. Panther to half health. Be careful there, Jove. Foresight. Steward down, right moving ahead here.
Light vehicle
Also,
just got
Master
destroyed.
Lieutenant, this town is almost completely leveled. There's the restaurant and this small house here, which is still standing. Everything else is was also a bit there. A lot of the other stuff has been hammered quite badly. 32 kills there on the Panther 4 Ace. Other Panther moving ahead. If only had more Panther going to do something else. Panther's moving in, aiming the halfway damage. There's going after the Pershing here. Almost got it. Panther 4 flanks it, but almost not going to take out the anti-tank gun crew. Good work, good work. Turning towards the Pershing. Blitzing away to turn there with the bazooka. Panther, there you go. Gets the Panther 4. The ace is lost. Sending in one Panther, gets the Pershing. He's about to lose the other Panther, and he goes down. Oh no. Pershing pulled back towards the base here. So he's down to just one Panther now and a lot of not very veteran infantry towards a force with a lot of veteran infantry. Careful there, Jove. 4, 6, 9. He's getting in with range there. The anti-tank rifle grenade. He's blitzing away. Oh, thankfully he doesn't have munitions for it.
A capture point is under
Rapidly
attack.
seizing territory. We got a fresh trench there with hostile minute. 41 versus 35. This is going to be close.
Our supply line just got cut off. New unit ready.
This is going to be very close, and there you go, he finally goes to the Rangers. The only thing, in fact, now FredBrik hasn't used is combined arms, which tends to be how most American players utilize it, so no surprises there. Pioneers don't get wiped out by the Lieutenant. Pioneers desperately fending off the Americans. We got grenades off against them.
We fall into 25 points.
23 versus 35. Just bring up here, we got Austin finding inside. They could just smoke up the house. He doesn't have munitions. He might have to force its rush in the Pershing. Rangers moving ahead here towards the center. 14 versus 35. Austin here blocking off. Versus Lieutenant, they can't last long. 8.
We're down to 10 points, damn it.
Moving up here and... oh dear, can he do it? No, no, it's GG, and there we go. Game over. So close there for FredBrik, but in the end, you know, strategically, he was relying too much on the Pershing. He didn't bring up any medium armor. Had he brought up some more medium tanks from Jackson's, that would probably help a lot there versus Joe. I mean, Joe was close to losing as well, so if he just had a bit more armor there, I think, to pressure Joe with, that would have been helpful. Or maybe, you know, using combined arms. Maybe had Rangers out sooner. Maybe more mines. I mean, a lot of options there for FredBrik, but, you know, in the end, he still played a bit like how most American players do. And it can fall short versus an excellent player like Jove, who again made, you know, a lot of good uses. I would say again, Jove's armor handling just strike me as a bit awkward. Again, he's not very good at sort of playing a bigger picture with his tanks. I mean, he can sort of use one at a time quite well, but he can't really coordinate several tanks into sort of a bigger movement there, which I think does hurt him a bit. And he's not really much of a flanker either. I mean, he lost plenty of, I think, good opportunities to flank behind FredBrik, do a lot of damage, in which case you could possibly finish this fight here sooner. But I mean, good use of Nostrum strategy though. Good, nice sort of use to initially get an advantage, block off light armor at least for some time there, then fill up. Great strength there, though again he could have gone for flame for half, I do think. And just sort of slowly but surely push away to an arm advantage. Actually going for Panthers besides the Panther 4s. And also good use of the Panther. I mean, really good play by Jove. Also good play by FredBrik, obviously, but again strategically, it was short-sighted compared to Jove's. It was short-sighted. But there you go. I do hope you enjoyed this match just as much as I did casting it. I think that was a pretty excellent fight. So if you did, you know, well, subscribe, like, share, comment on it. Of course, you do feel like you can, you know, do quite well as well. Send in a replay on your own. They do provide some details where you are, for example, on the leaderboards and so on. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers and thank you all for watching, and see you all tomorrow for another exciting episode. Cheers.